Hey there and welcome to Cars with Nash. Today we're working on this 2012 C350 and we're going to be changing the thermostat actually. So we've got a brand new complete thermostat unit and that's just located here right under the cover. So we'll get this cover pulled up, we'll get the coolant drained down, and that's about all there is to it. There's just 3 fasteners on it. It's pretty simple. But we're also going to change the coolant reservoir, and we're going to completely drain our system, which you wouldn't need to do this. You could just drain it down a little bit, but we're not sure when this was last changed. Okay, so step 1, get the cover off. It's got a bunch of clips, so just carefully work your way around the edges. I'll just show you where those clips are. So here we go. This is the thermostat. Is just this whole housing here, and then this little clip here, you lift that up and that releases the hose out of there. The new one comes with a new clip, new sensor, everything. And so all that's happening with this car is we have a check engine light saying that it's running too cool, and so that's a sign of a bad thermostat. These cars are very particular about their temperature, and so it's even risky using an aftermarket part, which I am. So first we have to get the coolant drained out, so that is located down on this side.
Okay, so to remove your under tray here, your front under tray, it's 10 8mm bolts. Okay, once you get your under tray off, your drain plug is right here. Okay, now we're going to drain our coolant. All you need is a pair of pliers. Just twist.
Okay guys, we're just going to use a flat blade screwdriver to persuade this out. See a little air gap right there, so yeah. It's just an O-ring that seals it, so there we go. And you can see actually what was holding it in is all this grit, like road grit, just built up on top of the O-ring. Everything here is a T30. The first thing you want to start with is actually getting this line off of here. And it's got a hose right back there, so it will flex. You just want to get this other line uncoupled from it first. And then right there, there's a T30, and then it's just held in with an O-ring. That's what we're dealing with there. It's oriented just like that in there. So that gives you an idea where those are. And 2. So there we go, all 3 are out. So it seals back on an O-ring there. So that's what's holding it right now, it's just that O-ring. We've got movement. We're just going to remove the oil filter housing. Just notice you can use your old clip to hold your hose to the side there. Works perfect. Wow. Didn't think it'd be that tight. I can't blame the last guy, it was me. So we just removed the oil filter and of course covered it up. We don't want to get any dirt in there. Oh, okay, yeah, if you twist it, you gotta twist it towards the oil filter housing there. You definitely have to remove the oil filter housing, there's no way around it. And then of course that gasket is stuck down there, so we'll peel that off. And we'll just make sure that surface is very clean before we put the new part in. And unfortunately the new part didn't include O-rings, so I do have an O-ring kit. I'll at least have the one for the heater line. I think that's what that is. I'm not sure about the hose though here. I want to put a new O-ring on it as well. Okay, we just want to put a little Vaseline around this O-ring before we put it in so that it slides together smoothly without rolling the O-ring. Okay, and I went ahead and just wiped off the gasket surfaces. These gaskets don't really transfer any material, so not a lot of need to clean anything. And We're just going to angle it in like that. Try and not get any dirt on anything. I want to get that O-ring going in there as straight as possible is the thing. So now we'll put our 3 bolts back in, and they're all equal length, so you don't have to worry about where they go. So it can twist. So I'm just trying to line it up with the easiest one here. So I got them all started in there, so I'm just going to run them in with my fingers with the extension. Run them all up snug and kind of rock this back into place, because you don't want to be pulling on that plastic flange at all. And you can actually see, if you look right between this line and this wire connector, right through that hole where my finger is there, you can see the head of that tricky bolt down there, and then it's not tricky anymore because you can see it. Torque them down. We're not going to use a torque wrench. You can, and I'll try and find the torque specs and include them, but I'm just going to snug them up. Yeah, that feels good to me. Okay, so now we'll plug our wire in, and we're not going to bother with that safety connector because it's all broken up. We'll just make sure that this engage is good, and they never come off. We got to figure out a new O-ring for this. Okay, we're just torquing up that line, and the same thing, it just has to be snug, not super tight. So we did find an O-ring, and these are just, you can find them in your plumbing section there for pressure washers and different things like that. So this O-ring kit didn't have anything thick enough. If you changed your oil before, of course, you already know how to do this, but so there we go, that should be tight enough. It's just gotta, these wires are just clipped into the side of it, so we'll get them out of the way to start with. And one of the reasons I want to change this out is because I've heard that the factory ones have a little silica pack in there that can burst open as the cars age and really cause problems. So we want to swap it out before that happens. And then also the coolant level sensor is in here, and that can be problematic. So get under and pull this up. And then this hose will just work out of here. So it's got a little O-ring on there you might want to change. Okay, since I don't care if we break this, I'm just going to get in here with the pry bar and pry that up like that. So this just lifts up, this rubber, and then this actually just clips. This wire has this metal clip, and we can put that over here out of our way. And then this should just clip up. Okay, see there's 2 tabs you got to pop up. I had one popped and then it latched again. There we go. Got her. There we go. And there we go. Okay guys, I just went ahead and took the old grommet out. It was still stuck in here. Normally it will stay in there. So the new one comes with a new one, so I just figured we might as well change it. And then you have to do this all at once. You have to get this all lined up. So those are ready to go in. Make sure that wire's clear. Yep. I think that's all locked in now. We'll put this on. So this just pushes down. There's a little notch for it. And you push your seal back into place. And then this slides down over there. So just going to put a little Vaseline on that O-ring. Just make sure it clicks in like that, and that's it. And then we just have these couple wires. Okay, very important that you avoid airlocks in your engine. So what I like to do is have the system open when I fill it. So I purposely left this radiator hose off so that we can fill through it, and that'll allow air to come up through here and through there as we fill, and we shouldn't get airlocks ideally. So we're just using this from Napa Coolant, and they actually Xerox makes the coolant for Napa, and Xerox also makes Mercedes coolant. So this is basically the same as Mercedes coolant, just a lot cheaper. And it's already mixed, it's a premix. And then just fill it quite slowly too, don't try to rush it full, and that gives the air a chance to escape. So you can hear the air gurgling up through the reservoir. So there we go, we got a full gallon in the system already. I could hear it gurgling up the whole time, so I'm confident we don't have any airlocks. So it's actually coming up in the thermostat housing now, and that's what we want. See that pretty blue coolant in the thermostat housing there, and that shows you that even though the thermostat's closed, there is a weep hole there that lets air through. And so now we're going to seal this up, and then we'll finish filling it through the reservoir, just through the cap. Now you got to have it lined up. There's little corresponding bumps on there. Okay, so we did get the line plugged in, and we actually had a little too big an O-ring on. So we tried one size down and it clipped right in. Unfortunately, we didn't film that. We're full up to the thermostat now, so we're just going to continue filling through the reservoir really slow and gentle. Okay, so we've got it just a touch over full. It'll definitely drop because of the air in it. I think we're ready to start the car now. Monitor it as it comes up to temperature, and we'll leave the reservoir open to let air out. We just got done running the car, so of course we checked for leaks and everything, but more importantly, we brought it up to temperature with the cap off the reservoir so any air could escape. And as it came up on the temperature, we gave it some revs, like 2500 RPMs, and just hold it for about 10 seconds and let off and let it rest again for half a minute, and then do that again a few times, and just watching the gauge to make sure no major fluctuations, and also watching the reservoir to make sure that there's not like water surging in there, and also feeling this hose. And so we brought it up to the point where the thermostat opened, and I felt the heat coming into the hose. We had the heater on, it was blasting heat in there, so all that is signs that there's no air in the system. So we put the cap on and let it pressure up. Still no leaks. The hose got nice and hard and it's warm. So that's all good. So we don't have any air in it, so if you fill it like we did, you shouldn't either. It's actually been a few weeks since we did that work on the cooling system, and this is why I generally wait a while before I publish a video, just to make sure everything worked out, because in this case we actually ended up with a leak on that O-ring, and we tried a few different like generic O-rings. We never got one from Mercedes because when I checked into it, it was $25 for a single O-ring. So I got this hose. It's not a genuine one, but a nice fitting part I found on Amazon for $100, just over $100. Came with an O-ring on each end, fit like a glove, and doesn't leak a drop now. So of course, keep an eye on your reservoir directly following any cooling system work, and just make sure it's not losing coolant. So one other tip for you is the factory fill line is at that division on this reservoir. You want to go a little fuller than that actually. We actually had a problem on this exact car this last winter where it was just filled to the spec, to the fill line there, and heater quit working. And all that we had to do to fix it was add a cup of coolant. So it should be just a touch over, you know, just right in there, like a 1/4 inch over the fill line would be about right. So we are going to show you why you want to change out your factory reservoir, because there's actually a silica pack in there, and we're going to cut it in half and show you that. Okay, so this is why you want to change that, because there's little silica pellets in here, and if this pouch bursts open, which they're known to do, it will clog your radiator. And your heater core and everything will be a big mess. So I do hope you found the video helpful and informative. Thanks a lot for watching Cars with Nash. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.